All right, it's Drewcast Sports here. We've got another video where we're going over the NFL coaching carousel. After 10 openings this offseason, it looks like all 10 positions have been filled for head coach. I'm going to run through all the teams that had the openings and filled them, and then I'm going to run through my top 3 stud coaching hires and my bottom 3 dud coaching hires as well. But I'll start with running through all the positions that were filled and then jump into my top 3 and bottom 3, and we'll take it from there. Buffalo Bills ended up moving on for Sean McDermott after a tough playoff loss. Kind of surprising, but they moved on from him. They ended up hiring Joe Brady, who was their offensive coordinator already. So he's elevating up into the head coach position, and we'll see what happens there. With Josh Allen, you're always going to have a chance, but the Buffalo Bills went with Joe Brady. The Baltimore Ravens moved on from longtime Super Bowl winning head coach John Harbaugh. Kind of surprising, but there were tea leaves in the air in terms of what could happen. And so they move on from him. They end up hiring defensive coordinator of the Los Angeles Chargers, who was actually working under John Harbaugh's brother, Jim. Jesse Minter, the defensive coach from the Chargers, is moving up to be the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. So we'll see how that works out. Steelers also moved on from their longtime, almost 20-year coach, Mike Tomlin, also a Super Bowl winner in the past. So he stepped down. He's taken the year off. He's not going anywhere else. But in order to fill that position, they pulled Mike McCarthy off the couch, probably full of potato chips. And now he's taken over the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's from Pittsburgh, so there's some emotion there. We'll see how that works. So Mike McCarthy is now the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kevin Stefanski is now the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. He was the coach of the Browns last year. They let him go, and now it looks like Matt Ryan, president of football operations of the Atlanta Falcons, really liked Kevin Stefanski, so they brought him in pretty much within the first 48 hours of all this happening. So Kevin Stefanski is the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. The Giants hired the big fish in the pond this year. So John Harbaugh, the first domino to really fall before all the floodgates could open, he is going to be the head coach of the New York Giants, taking over that team with young talent all over the place. So John Harbaugh taking over the New York Giants. Tennessee Titans. So the Titans moved on from their coach during the season, so you knew this was coming. They ended up giving another shot to Robert Saleh, defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers, had a run with the Jets. He's getting a second chance. He'll be coaching the Tennessee Titans next season. The Cleveland Browns actually found someone to be their head coach. Who knew? Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens. He's going to be stepping in to be the head coach of that team. We'll see how they fill out the staff and where that goes. Kind of surprise hire, but the Cleveland Browns found their guy for now, and that is Todd Monken. The Las Vegas Raiders finally found their guy. They had to wait a little bit, and before they make it official, they have to wait until after the Super Bowl because Clint Kubiak, offensive coordinator of the Seattle Seahawks, is going to be the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. Clearly, they're thinking about the young quarterback that's coming in. Mendoza will be from Indiana, is going to be the first overall pick, without a doubt, for the Las Vegas Raiders. Now they got a young offensive head coach with a great offensive mind in Clint Kubiak to help mold him into the future. The Arizona Cardinals also took a while. They were trying to get Kubiak, but they lost out on Kubiak. They ended up going for the next choice, which was Mike LaFleur, another young offensive mind. You know him as the brother of Matt LaFleur in Green Bay. Mike LaFleur was working with the Rams under Sean McVay, so he's got a lot of experience calling high-level offense. So we'll see with the talent they have there. They could be interesting. They need a quarterback. Look out for Malik Willis. You heard it first. So Mike LaFleur will be the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. And then the last opening, the 10th one, was the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins moved on from Mike McDaniel. They ended up going with defensive head coach Jeff Hafley. So Hafley's getting his first crack at being a head coach. We'll see how that goes for him with Miami, but it's definitely looking like a longer rebuild there. I don't expect anything to happen fast. All right. Long with it. Let me get my breath. All right. 10 openings, which is a lot, all filled now in the NFL. It's kind of crazy. Every year you feel like there's 7+ job openings. The way it just continues, the turnover in this league right now is insane. And I don't think it's going to get any better. These owners really are impatient. So if they don't feel like you're doing anything or will do anything in the next year or two, they're just cutting bait and finding the next guy. So I'm going to go over my 3 studs and my 3 duds, starting with my 3 stud coaching hires. Number 1, easy, John Harbaugh to the New York Giants. They needed a legit head coach in that room, an adult in the room to really rebuild that franchise that has a really rich history. So John Harbaugh is going to bring his credentials to New York, building up that young talent. They do have cap space as well, so I expect them to at least double their win total. Robert Saleh. He gets a lot of bad rep from his New York Jets stint. The New York Jets are terrible. It's really hard to coach that team, especially with the way the ownership runs it. And I think Robert Saleh is a really good leader, and he already proved that he can build out a staff, getting Brian Daboll to be his offensive coordinator with a young quarterback with talent and Cam Ward. I think that's a really good hire. They got a chance to be really good and close to double their win total as well. I love the Titans hire of Robert Saleh and him bringing in really good coaches around him as well. And then the last one, I actually really like what the Ravens did. I think Ravens got that hot, young defensive coordinator candidate in Jesse Minter, who's got a chance to be a really good head coach. Really like that Mike McDonald with Seattle. It's kind of in that mold, which they do have ties because they both worked in the Ravens system before. So Minter had been a defensive coach for the Ravens. He knows it well. He understands what it's all about, what really it takes to win there, but what's expected in terms of winning there. So I think Jesse Minter is going to be a really good fit, especially with a talented team ready to go. Just being able to coach up that defense, because if they can win games on defense and then use their talent like Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, for example, they could be dangerous early. All right, that's my 3 studs. 3 duds. First one, I feel like I'm beating up on this team, Cleveland Browns. They kind of just hired whoever they could get. Probably the only guy who actually wrote the essay that they required. Yes, they asked the candidates to write an essay on why they should be hired to the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland, you should be writing an essay to these coaches for why they should even bother coaching your team. But whatever. So Todd Monken gets a chance. Good for him. But they really butchered that whole situation. If they were smart, they would have just elevated Jim Schwartz, who was already the defensive coordinator. Your team is a defensive team. Keep the identity and then get a good offensive coordinator in there. But instead, they got Todd Monken. We'll see what happens. I don't think Jim Schwartz is going to stick around after that interview fiasco. So we'll see. The Browns are the Browns, of course. Joe Brady with the Buffalo Bills. That's my number 2, done. Why did we move off McDermott to just elevate Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator? I don't think he was getting a job anywhere else. And with Josh Allen, it's really not hard to coach that offense. When you have Josh Allen, they didn't even have talent. They were still good. But I just don't see how he's going to elevate from where they already are. And he's set up to fail because he's not allowed to just win a playoff game and compete. Like, they got to make the Super Bowl. That's why McDermott is gone. So Joe Brady's got a lot of pressure on him. If he can handle it, great. I don't think it was the right hire. They should have went a different direction, but that's what they chose. So we'll see what happens. My last stud, Pittsburgh, Mike McCarthy. What a boring, pointless hire that was. So you're not going to rebuild or try to get to the point where you can refresh this team, get a young quarterback in there, and rebuild from the ground up. You're just going to keep the status quo. We're going to win 7 to 9 games and be the most boring team in the AFC. And when we do make the playoffs, we get smoked. It's been like that for a decade now, and nothing's going to change. Mike McCarthy is a good enough coach to keep you level. But that's it. I mean, the Steelers have been level. That's why Tomlin's finally gone. And they're just doing the same crap Mike McCarthy is just going to do the same thing Tomlin was doing. I just don't get it. Like a great franchise like the Steelers, they're nowhere close, and they're not going to be close to winning a title because you need to take a step back in order to go 2 steps forward. I'm not saying tank, but you do need to refresh the team, get your cap in order, hopefully get a point where you can draft a young quarterback that you're happy about and have him under control, and then use that cap space to build the team around it. Really good defense, get some weapons in there. Instead, they want to win 8 games and contend for the division and not win a playoff game. So that's how I feel about the coaching hires. Those are my 3 studs and my 3 duds. Let me know what you think. Who'd you hate? Who'd you love? A lot of hires happened this year. We'll see what happens next year. Hopefully it's not as many. It'll be a much shorter video for me. But thanks for watching. Feel free to comment below, subscribe, like. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you want me to talk about. I'll be back soon to talk about this Super Bowl that's coming up. My Patriots versus the Seattle Seahawks. We'll see what happens with the underdog, which I love being the underdog. But that's another video at another time. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.